Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on the gold medal tomato. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this tomato. Now, I didn't get too many off this plant this year, but they generally seem, the few that I did get, generally seem to look something like this shape. I don't know if you call that beefsteak or just, they call that ugly tomato or just a weird kind of wrinkly top on it. It's got that blushing, that light yellow blushing on the top. You can see like it has these classic stripes on the bottom. It's like a ribbing of some kind. And the other tomatoes that generally look like this is the Hillbilly tomato, the Big Rainbow, the Kellogg's tomato. Sometimes Kellogg's tomatoes can come out and look like this a little bit. There's a number of tomatoes that do generally look like this. But this one, generally, the shape of this thing is kind of different. Now, I have one cut open right here. You can see it's starting to form those ribs on the top, which is kind of a unique feature to this tomato, because you don't quite see it look like that on the other tomatoes. Though the other tomatoes can get ribby on the top, but they usually get ribby because they're becoming like beefsteak shaped or augmented because the flower gets, damaged, and the tomatoes come out really weird like that when the flowers get damaged. So yeah, they will get ribby like that, but the general shape of the other tomatoes don't quite have this feature. This tomato seems to have this ribbing characteristic very prominently. It's very characteristic of the tomato. Yes, I did right on the top, but so the inside of it, again, the inside of the tomato looks very much like a Hillbilly tomato. And there's, like I said, there's a number of other tomatoes that kind of have this particular type of look. Look very similar, almost identical. You could see there's some pink blushing in the middle. That's common with this tomato. And the skin, you could see, is kind of like pink on the outside. It's very interesting the way the skin connects to the rind. It has like a separation point, almost like between the skin and the rind itself, there's like a pink layer a little bit. I don't know if the camera could pick that up. Try to give you a nice view of it that way. And you can see the seed chambers are multiple chambers all the way around the tomato. There's multiple chambers all the way around. It's not just a couple chambers. They're all the way around. They're all over the place. They're scattered. And you can see there's a lot of meat in the center of that tomato. So right there, that tells you this would be a generally good sauce-making tomato. Because there's so much meat in this tomato, it'll make a very thick sauce. You don't have to cook it down very much. So this is probably a great sauce tomato. Now, this is my first year growing it, so I haven't made tomato sauce with it. And I really don't have enough of these tomatoes for me to make a specific sauce with this tomato. So unfortunately, I can't make sauce this year, but we'll grow it out in years to come. We'll see if we can get a better development of this tomato and get a larger quantity so we can make some sauce, slice them up, put them on some hamburgers. We'll do some food reviews in the future, but right now we're just reviewing the tomato. So yeah, seeds seem to be firmly attached to the rind, and I do see all sorts of wilding effects on that. Look at how beautiful the inside of that thing is. Isn't that just wonderful looking? Amazing pattern on there. Just the look at that. You put this in the salad or slice it up and put it out on the table for your guests to look at. It'd just be really strange. It's just a wonderful looking tomato in every way too. And it looks like it's going to be juicy. And it looks like it's going to be as delicious as the Hillbilly tomato. which I'll be doing a review on a Hillbilly tomato soon. I got a couple of them coming up. A nice big one I'm going to do a review on. But let's give this a bite and see what it tastes like. Sweetness is kind of, I'd say 25-30 sweetness. Tangy is very low. Tangy is like 20, maybe 18, 20 on the tangy. It's very low. It's got a very watery taste to it. It does have a nice carry through to a nice tomato flavor afterwards. So you do get this nice aftertaste of tomato with a nice watery, wet, washing down type of watery effect. It's nice and watery. Like I said, this is a great sauce tomato right here. The pulp part of it was nothing uncomfortable about the pulp. There were no hard spots, or it's very smooth. It's like eating ice cream, basically. Very, very smooth. The skins were very thin. Didn't really cause me a problem. Not sticking to my tongue. They're not having to spit them out or chew them or anything. They're just very thin. They break up nice almost with the tomato. Let's take another bite now that my palate is adjusted. Yeah, the skins are a little bit there, but they seem to chew up easy, and they don't really want to stick to the walls of your mouth. So you could kind of chew them up a little bit, or you could spit them out if you want, but they're not that uncomfortable. I've had worse, trust me. So it's not that bad. It's pretty good. The flavor is very unique. It has a low acid but real sweet taste. But because the sweet taste is much stronger than the acid flavor, it almost tastes like it's very watery in the beginning. And then when that citrusy flavor, the tangy part, kicks in afterwards, it's a nice effect because the aftertaste of the tomato really sets in pretty good. Let me just finish this piece. Wow, that is a wonderful tomato. Let me tell you something. Gold medal, huh? I like that one, guys. That's a delicious tomato. But it's not going to rank number one. It's definitely going to rank on the two. The balance of sweetness and tardiness was a little bit off for me. It was more sweet than tardy, but real watery. Even with high sweetness, but a high watery content, tends to be like drinking just like a watery juice. It's not very tomato-like for that perfect balance. I got some Boxcar Willies coming up soon, and I know that those are very well-balanced tomatoes. So I'll tell you what a well-balanced tomato is. This one's definitely out. It's very sweet, but watery. That watery effect is cool. I mean, if you're dehydrated in the field and you're working in the garden all day and you just need something to just bring your electrolytes up and just you want to wet your palate and bring up some of your moisture, this would probably be the tomato to use. I'm going to rank this at a number 2. I can't go number 1 with this, not this year anyway. It can't really quite go up that high. That offset in flavor, even though it's very pleasing to have a sweet tomato, I don't mind having a more sweet than tangy tomato. It's just it's very moist, and that moisture with the sweetness just washes it away real quick. But it does have a nice follow through with that tomato flavor. So, but it's not going to get the number 1 place this year. It can't come up to number 1. But yeah, it's a wonderful looking tomato. Like I say, it looks very much like a Hillbilly tomato. And the difference between like a Kellogg's tomato and a Hillbilly tomato is the Hillbilly tomato has this blushing, this beautiful pink blushing that's among this orange, bright orange color in there. So that's a very deep characteristic of that Hillbilly tomato. So just so you know, and then this is kind of like in that family of things, except Hillbilly tomatoes are more of a rounder tomato, a slicer, and they don't really have that ribbing, though sometimes they do as well. But they are different. I can see a difference already in it. All right, so yeah, if you've never grown a gold medal tomato before, give them a go. I'll put links in the description for seeds if you're interested in purchasing seeds. I will be opening up a website maybe next year and be offering seeds next year for different tomato styles that I grow, different tomato types. And I'll start off small and build my seed category up as I go. But until then, I can only provide you with links from Amazon, so you'll have to get seeds from them. But in years to come, I will provide you with a website where you can just buy the seeds from. But anyway, that's the review for the gold medal tomato. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.